This is a story that comes from the blackdetour.com. I found this story or this website from JDog8807's some of his videos that he's done. Shout out to him. Go to his channel and subscribe. He has great content there. But I found this story, and there's another one I will also discuss here. So this is a 2-for-1 video, I suppose. And another example of environmental racism. So in Lowndes County, Alabama, it's a very rural area in Alabama, but the residents there are suffering from sewage issues that put their health at risk. So as you can see from this image, it's an older lady here, one of our elders, and there's open sewage in a ditch right off the road. And that might be her driveway right there. So putting her health at risk. They say that Lowndes County is a rural area of Alabama that has recently gained national attention due to its predominantly Black and poor residents suffering from sewage issues, according to Governing. In between two more notable cities, Selma and Montgomery, Lowndes County has been suffering from health risks from human waste stagnating in open pits and raw sewage flooding open areas after heavy rains. These are everyday experiences for the residents. They show a study here as a link for something else, another topic I'm not going to go into. After Baylor University researchers investigated the effects of the waste, they found evidence of hookworm. This is a common parasite of tropical disease believed to have been eradicated in the U.S., but is found in more than a third of Lowndes County residents. So it's not gone. Once the findings were released, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Extreme Poverty and Human Rights, Philip Alston, went to the county in December of 2017 to investigate further. He says, "I think it's very uncommon in the first world. This is not a sight that one normally sees. I'd have to say that I haven't seen this." So I remember when I was younger, hookworm, ringworm, and roundworms were very common because I'm from a very rural area, and I don't necessarily remember us getting like hookworm, but I remember my grandma, my mom talking about, you can get hookworm, you can get ringworm, put your shoes on, don't go outside, don't play around in puddles or flip-flops and no shoes, because we would run around outside with no shoes on a lot. And that just was like a no-no. And I didn't realize how bad it was, but it apparently is coming back, and it's usually due to high humidity. You have flies that lay their eggs in the stagnant water of ponds or a creek, or like in a ditch like that lady was standing in. And we have a lot of those around. We have a lot of swamp areas. Alabama is has similar weather to South Carolina. So they go into talking about here that many of the residents want to know how they get to this point. Clearly they have issues with their infrastructure. So this was a gathering in Lowndes County, Alabama, where residents were at a church in 2002 to voice their concerns about their sewage system to state and local officials. So this was 16 years ago when they sat down and tried to figure out what's going on and be honest and transparent to the residents. Clearly they're not, because they go on to say many of the Lowndes County residents do not live close to any sewer systems, meaning their homes aren't connected to the sewage grid that services the cities. And that's exactly how it is for us. We have a septic tank, we have a well, we have a pump on the well. We're not connected to the main city water line system. We have a separate water line that we use privately. Alternatively, they say the residents' waste goes into septic tanks that are buried under the ground. These tanks are supposed to process waste locally and then rely on natural elements found in specific types of soil to help filter debris, ensuring its release is safe. However, this has not been the case, and Lowndes County has a vast amount of chalk and clay under its topsoil, neither of which can adequately absorb and filter the waste because, as you know, chalk and clay, the water just runs right past it. It doesn't absorb it right. So, and it doesn't absorb it in short term and definitely not long term. So that's a lot of the buildup that could be occurring with these organisms that cause disease. Unfortunately, causing debris released by septic tanks to be pushed up to the surface where it becomes dangerous. Okay, they need to work on the writing here, where it becomes dangerous, period. The issue becomes more complicated because it is illegal for residents to lack proper sewage systems. Alabama state law deems it a misdemeanor to build, maintain, or use an insanitary sewage collection, treatment, and disposal facility. And then they come down again. They talk about in 2002, the Alabama government threatened to arrest more than 37 residents for unacceptable sewage systems. However, none of those 37 homes could afford to fix the system. So it all comes back to money, as we see. Over the years, as the number of homes with illegal sewage systems increased, judges started to have a tough time enforcing the law. Local officials financially started to work with the residents to install new septic systems, but yet again, they all failed because the soil in Lowndes County cannot handle standard buried septic systems. So they need to, like I said earlier, the infrastructure. Infrastructure also includes the soil and the concrete used to house a more updated septic system. If these people want to maintain a well water or improve the infrastructure of the underground, if they want to install pipes that go directly to the city water so they can be connected to the city water. No one wants to pay for that. The city don't want to pay for it. The residents can't pay for it because they can't afford it. They've been living on these this form of this way of getting water for a long time, and they feel like, what's the point of changing it now? So this is not just the Alabama issue. Clearly, I was just talking about that. It includes other states, Alaska, California, Kentucky, and Virginia. It's not a Southern thing, as people like to say. Oh, it's just a Southern. Southerners are stupid. They don't know how to do anything right. They don't know how to maintain or improve their septic systems. No, it's not the same. It's not just about the South. It's about other places as well, including California, as they stated. In California, the septic system is a problem too. We have people who have issues with the heating and cooling of their homes, and the heating, the hot water heaters on their homes. They're using old antiquated water heaters as well. And so it's all coming back to money. It's all coming back to politics and what they're going to do. I hope they're able to come to a conclusion and they're able to help these people, because if not, they're going to see the budget as far as health in these states go up. They're going to have to increase their budget because they're going to have a lot of people that are sick. So that ends this article from the Black Detour. As I mentioned, you all let me know what you think in the comment section about that. But when I was reading this article, it also reminded me of a video from the Cows Context of White Supremacy with Gus D. Renegade, where he discussed, I think it was compensatory call-in one Sunday or Saturday or Thursday, whenever they have that show. And the broadcast discussed this article from The Guardian. And I remember this was on NPR. They said that there are millions of tons of feces and an unbearable stench, life near industrial pig farms. So we already know pigs are disgusting creatures. They're mainly here to dispose of waste. That's mainly their function. But of course, there are people who still eat them, use them for food. So they're basically eating a garbage disposal. But aside from that, let's go on and discuss this environmental racism that's occurring in North Carolina. So I'm going to get to the gist of it so I can end this video. I don't want to keep you all too long. This is not a popcorn video. I just want to skip down. I'll leave the link in the description box, of course. So what happened was you had a lot of Black residents in this area of North Carolina who were living near a pig farm. And they're recognizing that the feces that have become aerated and particles in the air that these people are breathing in, they're seeing that as environmental racism, and I agree. Renee Miller is currently involved. This is a young lady, well, she's an older lady here, but she is currently involved in a lawsuit against the hog farm, which sprays hog waste onto a field across the street from her home. So her house is right across the street from a pig farm. They don't have any kind of fence or any kind of barrier blocking the spray that's coming across the field, across the road into her home. So think about in the wintertime, you turn your heat on, you're pulling air from the outside to heat it up with the condenser and then heat that air and bring that heated forced air to your home. You're breathing in those chemicals and you're also breathing in the feces that have become aerated from the hogs. In the summertime, reverse it. You have the same thing. It's just the air is cool. So it would definitely cause respiratory issues and possibly metabolic issues. So they say here, to understand Renee Miller's predicament, you have to start with the pigs. The population of North Carolina increased more than threefold in just one decade, from 2.8 million in 1990 to 9.3 million in 2000, where it stayed more or less ever since. In 1986, North Carolina ranked 7th in the country in pork production. 30 years later, it's second only to Iowa, with an estimated 9 million pigs on 2,217 hog farms, according to USDA Quarterly Hog Survey and the 2012 U.S. Census of Agriculture. So it talks about all the statistics about these pigs. 7.5 million hogs are in 5 eastern North Carolina counties. They produce more than 15.5 million tons of feces. Okay, I just had to point that out. The scent is really bad. And she says here, the scent is so bad, you can't go outside. You can't go outside and cook anything because the flies and mosquitoes take over. So you want to have a cookout, you can't do that. You want to, go outside and just sit in the yard, have a couple drinks or something, or have fun with your kids or grandkids coming over. You can't do that. So it's preventing them from even going outside and enjoying the atmosphere, enjoying enjoying nature, enjoying their land that they pay on. They say here 50 yards from Miller's family graveyard is a massive open air cesspool storing the pigs' waste. It's a stagnant pool containing the feces, urine, blood, and other bodily fluids, often referred to as a lagoon. One of about 3,300 lagoons across the state. When the cesspool reaches its capacity, its contents are liquefied and sprayed into a field across the state. When the cesspool reaches its capacity, also they say, I'm reading that again. Its contents are liquefied and sprayed into a field across the street from Miller's house via a large sprinkler-like apparatus. The sprayer releases a mist of waste onto the field, which, according to the court documents, is about 200 feet from Miller's home at its closest rotation. That system prevents the cesspool from overflowing, but Miller says it also makes her life miserable. So I'm gonna get into this story and stories like this later on. I don't want to go too far into detail, but it does say that she suffers from asthma. She suffers from a lot of other health issues. These disgusting animals right here, Butler Farms in Lillington, North Carolina, and they talk about the air pollutants they go through. Environmental racism is being talked about. You have a lot of people who want to probably run for president, like Cory Booker, who's sticking his nose into this type of thing, and other Democrats. So they're trying to figure out what to do about this. And let me scroll down some. So they say this is heaven for hogs and hell for humans. And I'm gonna have to go into detail about this more in another video. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Please let me know what you think in the comment section about this video and about this article and the other article I read as well. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.